What was the most notorious crime committed in your hometown? This asshole decided to go sit with patrons of a church and listen to them before gunning them down and running like a coward. It was also definitely racially motivated and meant to spread and divide people more and more. Turned the city upside down for a while, but from my eyes the community did a great job of coming together and uniting afterwards. Florida, the guy that molesting the alligators. Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka, two vile and disgusting humans, kidnapped, raped and murdered teenage girls. She got off before evidence came out she was involved, but she made a deal to bring him in and it was too late. She changed her name and has a family now. Absolutely gross. What they did to those poor girls is absolutely heinous. Unfortunately, it's hard to choose just one. School shooting that inspired the song, Youth of a Nation. Stolen tank driven down the freeway. McDonald's shooting that killed 21 people. A kid was hacked to death with a machete in the street in the middle of the night by a pair of guys from a few towns over. This kid had outed some girl working in a strip club as being HIV positive and she set her buddies on him. San Jose, CA. Long before San Jose was Silicon Valley, it was a sleepy, mid-sized farming town in the heart of agricultural Santa Clara Valley. As it was in the 1920s to 30s when, across the country, kidnapping of rich children for ransom was a sort of faddish crime among the felonious, one that rent whole communities with fear and horror. 1933. The popular wealthy son and heir to San Jose's biggest and most popular retail store was kidnapped by two goons who killed him and dumped him into the South Bay before even bothering to begin ransom procedures, which they then attempted. Being felonious goons, they got themselves caught, and, while being held in prison in the heart of the town, across from St. James Park, they saw their jail surrounded by thousands of enraged citizens, many from outside San Jose, egged on by vituperative radio broadcasts and newspaper editorialists up and down the coast, and a California governor who saw exactly what was happening and was all for it. The mob attacked the jail, violently assaulted police within, grabbed the two men, dragged them into St. James Park and strung them up from two trees, Old West style. Photos of the affair, and the hanging bodies, along with the thousands who witnessed and or participated, became trading postcards, and no one was ever seriously prosecuted for the event. It is said that actor Jackie Coogan, Hollywood's first child actor, who played Uncle Fester in the 1960s show, The Addams Family, and who was a fraternity brother of the victim at San Jose State, was in the park and at one point helped to prepare one of the ropes used in the hangings. There was absolute widespread and generalized consensus throughout the entire state of California, up to the governor's desk, that justice had simply run its course here, just maybe a bit unorthodox. It is, if I am not mistaken, the last genuinely public lynching ever to take place in the United States. In the California Bay Area, no less. It's a largely forgotten story of a city that, shall we say, has other things on its mind these days, but it's an extraordinary tale nonetheless. Great book on it called Swift Justice. The local retirees club met in a barn. They had a bring your own food party. One of the attendees accidentally brought some wheat cookies, which was later found he may have switched with another member in his household. He offered them to everybody. Many of the attendees got so high, the police and ambulances had to be called as they went totally out of control, tripping in all sorts of ways. William Bannister lived at the same trailer park as my family. He was the babysitter for my friend April. She was one of the only kids near my age. We walked home from the bus together and played almost every day. One day he came knocking on our door, asking if we had seen her. My dad commented how strange it was because Bill was showered and it was the first time my dad had seen him showered. April was reported missing. For the next 3 days the sheriffs, my dad, and I looked for April everywhere. April and I would play. The ponds, looked for signs of mountain lions, drained the crap in the pool, looked in between boulders. Eventually the police decided that April's dad took her, likely to Mexico. Years later we learned that Bill's son claimed his father did it. He said his father raped her, killed her, stuffed her under his mattress, showered, and went and helped look for her. We didn't know he was a serial killer at the time. https://skdb.fandom.com/wiki/Bannister_William_James. I live in Jersey, Channel Islands. One of the lowest crime murder rates in the world. There's a guy in the 60s-70s called the Beast of Jersey who wore a rubber mask and snuck into people's homes and sexually assaulted women and children. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/oulu_child_murders question WPROV=SFLA1. This here actually made it to international news. She was a bartender at my local dive bar and I knew her for years. I'm just glad I never tried to hit on her. I lived in Wichita when BTK was sending letters and threatening to kill again. Starlight Tours. Cops driving native men out to the outskirts of the city in the middle of the night in the winter. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, aka fucking cold, taking their jackets and leaving them there. It all got blown open when one of them managed to survive. The guy who bullied me throughout elementary and middle school shot and killed the guy who bullied my brother. Happened within walking distance of my house. Drove by on the way to school that morning. Someone knocks on the door of this house at like 4 a.m. Old lady answers, sees the person at the door and shuts it. Person outside fires several shots through the door, striking her and killing her as her 8-year-old grandson watched. Killer has never been found. It's believed her son was involved with drugs and the shooter was there for him but shot the lady instead since she was there. Been almost 11 years. Terrorists made a homemade bomb in my town and planned to blow up a plane. All arrested before anything could happen. My friend's mom was who sold them some of the chemicals they used to make the bomb, but this was before any system in place to alert employees to purchases of that nature. Bomb was placed in our small town mall. 2 days before Christmas, killed 5, injured 40. The town lost its innocence that day. 49 killed in a nightclub shooting. Although Kylie Anthony killing her daughter and lying about it is probably more widely known. I am from Berlin, Germany. These crimes are not in the criminal record, they are in the history books. As far as I can remember, someone dressed up as an old lady with a fake mask hair clothes and robbed a bank. Then rode away on a bicycle until they got to some railroad tracks down the road. They then ran down them until they got to another road, into a car, and got away. I want to say there was another mask under the first one but I don't remember exactly. But it was at a bank right down the road from my high school right at the beginning of lunch. And we have off-campus lunch each day. Born in the Tampa, Florida area. I don't think I can choose just one thing.